If you've been looking into the topic of productivity for as long as I have, you learn to recognize the many different commonly held beliefs that are simply not true. So in this video, we'll bust the 17 most common productivity myths that I've encountered. So this is going to be a little bit of a longer video because there's 17 things to talk about, but I'll try to keep each one of these 17 myths really short, along with the reason why I believe they are myths and essentially my attempt to bust the myth. Myth number one, you are most productive in the morning. We've all heard that the early bird gets the worm, but what about the night owl snatching all the midnight snacks? The truth is that we all have our unique peak productivity time. So whether you are more productive in the morning, evening, afternoon, night, that's a matter of finding your own productivity times. Myth number two, busyness equals productivity. Not business, busyness, like being busy. Have you ever had a day where you're running around like a headless chicken only to realize that you've accomplished practically nothing? Just because your day is packed doesn't mean that you're being productive. Practical productivity is not just about doing things for the sake of doing them, but rather it's about focusing on doing things that matter. Remember, it's about working smarter, not harder. Myth number three, breaks are for the lazy. Now, if you think powering through for hours on end is the path to success, you're setting yourself up for a crash and burn scenario. Our brains are like muscles, they need a break. Pushing through fatigue is the fastest way to burn out. And when it comes to productivity, burning out is way more costly than taking some breaks when you need them. So just take some breaks. Myth number four, the longer the to-do list, the better. This myth essentially advocates that your day should be jam-packed with tasks to get done in one day. Some people take it a step further and want every minute of their day to be scheduled. In reality, a day that is overly structured can be detrimental to your creativity and problem-solving skills. Instead, focus on prioritizing. Choose 3 main tasks a day, focus on tackling those, and then if you're feeling intrepid, just tackle some more, but always keep a narrow focus. Myth number 5, working overtime is the true sign of commitment. There's a common misconception that the more hours you work, the more productive you are, and to some people, pulling all-nighters or working really early or late might seem like a badge of honor. However, this lifestyle is not sustainable and can lead to burnout. Instead of showing your commitment by working tirelessly for hours on end, show it with consistent effort, effective time management, and knowing when to shut off for the night. Countries with workforces that work fewer hours often have higher productivity rates. Once again, this is one aspect where you should focus on quality and not quantity. Myth number 6, procrastination is always bad. This might have been a little bit of a misleading way to present this myth. When most people talk about procrastination, they're talking about chronic procrastination, which is the real productivity killer. However, there's something called productive procrastination. And what that does is provide a little bit of runway, a small delay, if you will, that can lead to clearer, more innovative solutions. Productive procrastination believes that every now and then, it pays to let an idea simmer for a bit. Let me know if you want me to talk more about productive procrastination on a later video. Myth number 7, technology always boosts productivity. Nowadays, there's an app for just about anything. But as it's already common in some aspects of the world of productivity, this is another aspect where quality triumphs over quantity. While apps and gadgets can be super helpful, they can also be sources of distraction. Also, frequently switching between apps and tools can reduce productivity. So the key is to find tools that genuinely work for you and stick with those tools. Tools are just that, tools. Productivity comes from how you use them. Myth number 8, a cluttered desk is a sign of a disorganized mind. This is one that I want to call true, but I think it can go either way. While some people thrive in a more minimalistic, clean spaces, others find inspiration in a bit of chaos. In fact, a 2013 study conducted by the University of Minnesota concluded that a clean workspace produces healthy choices and encourages generosity, but a bit of organized chaos can foster creativity. So it turns out the question may not be as black and white as originally thought. Therefore, the answer might depend on the type of work that you're doing and what objective you're trying to achieve. And a quote attributed to Einstein says that if a cluttered desk is a sign of a cluttered mind, of what then is an empty desk a sign? It's probably frowned upon for someone of my limited intelligence to fight Einstein on this. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Myth number 9, listening to music reduces productivity. This is also one that can go both ways because music can be a double-edged sword. While listening to songs with some lyrics might trip you up because maybe you want to know the lyrics or you want to guess what's coming or you want to sing along, instrumental tracks and nature sounds sometimes can boost mood and productivity. I, for example, have different playlists for different types of work that I do, but there are some times when I just need silence or white noise. The trick is to find the soundtrack that vibes with your workflow. Myth number 10, perfection equals productivity. Aiming for excellence is great. Aiming for perfection with every single detail can lead to endless tweakings and unnecessary stress. I'm sure you've heard this before, but when it comes to productivity, more often than not, done is better than perfect. So if you want to be more productive, aim for great, not for perfect. Myth number 11, you can rest later. This is the good old "I'll sleep when I'm dead" motto. In reality, sleep is a crucial component of practical productivity. Research from Harvard Medical School shows that sleep deprivation can impair judgment and your cognitive function. So it may be that a good night's sleep trumps a week of late night hustles. If you're tired, a short nap might be more beneficial than pushing through. Myth number 12, being adaptable means saying yes to everything. Flexibility is great, but being a yes man or yes woman, not so much. Spreading yourself too thin can dilute your focus and negatively impact the quality of your work. So what's the point of doing more if your work product sucks? Setting boundaries is not just okay, it's essential for genuine practical productivity. As is the case with other concepts on this list, it takes some finessing to effectively remain adaptable without succumbing to the tides. Myth number 13, all stress is bad stress. This may surprise you or not, but there is such a thing as bad stress and good stress. Chronic stress is the bad kind. You definitely don't want that one. But a little bit of acute stress can actually act as a motivator. It's like adding a pinch of spice to a dish. Just the right amount can elevate it. So don't run away from stress. Just learn to determine whether the stress you are experiencing is good or bad. If it is good, keep it in check, but let it help you move forward. If it is bad, find ways to eliminate it or limit its impact. Myth number 14, routine is the enemy of creativity. It's easy to think that routines are mundane. Routines provide a structure that allow your mind the freedom to wander and innovate within a defined framework. For example, I experience this when working on music production. I like to produce music, so a nice template on my DAW, on my digital audio workstation, frees up mental energy that I would expend on setting things up every time I start a project, and instead lets me focus on the creative aspect of it. So when I have an idea, I open my computer, open a new project in my DAW, but there's already a template that allows me to just develop my idea instead of having to focus on setting things up. Myth number 15, productivity should be constant. Repeat after me. Practical productivity does not require you to be 100% productive 100% of the time. You need to learn to cut yourself some slack. Like our energy levels, motivation, and willpower, productivity also ebbs and flows. Embrace this cycle and just work with it. Myth number 16, productivity is an individual effort. Self-discipline is crucial, but never underestimate the power of collaboration. Depending on the context and the type of goal that you're pursuing, it might be that two heads or more can indeed be better than one. And teamwork can often lead to quicker solutions or innovative ideas. Now, there's a time and place for going solo, and there's a time and place for running with an entourage. So don't get married to working solo or always working in teams. Just learn to identify when it's more beneficial to work one way or another. And I saved the big one for last. Myth number 17, multitasking is king. This is the age-old belief that juggling multiple tasks, aka multitasking, makes you ultra productive. But multitasking is a big, fat myth. It's such a widely held belief that I think it deserves its own video, so I won't get into too much detail here. But you should know that your brain just isn't built to handle multiple tasks simultaneously. Multitasking is merely a fancy word for task switching, which can actually accomplish the opposite of what you want and hurt your productivity. And with that, we are done busting 17 of the most common productivity myths that I've seen out there. If you feel like sharing, let me know in the comments if you know any other myths that I miss here. If you like this type of content, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, but only if it feels right. I'll see you next time. Let's do this. Beep boop beep boop beep boop intro music. I think I'm gonna make that my intro music.